What started December 28th with a single tweet from Wolf set the gears into motion. If you guys don't know, Wolf Glick, 2016 Pokemon World Champion, decided to put on an 8-man invitational with Smash Bros, featuring top 4 player Zane, me, Hugs, Esam, Toph, Plup, Mewtwo King, and Alpharad. Right off the bat, me and Alpharad were considered the jokes of the tournament, the gimmicks, the influencers who are only here for view, but not for the talent. I mean, just look at it. Just look. Ludwig isn't a Smash player. He's a TikTok streamer. Alpharad knows competitive Pokemon. Hugs is top 100. They said Smash Pro. Why is Ludwig there? Shortwig. Okay, it's mostly making fun of my height, which is actually hurting my feelings reading this all now. God, Ludwig better not fucking throw this. It's a real shame Ludwig's gonna throw. He would have had a shot. And this picks it out best. These are all really great choices, but I can't believe you actually picked Ludwig. They're all great choices, he says, but I can't believe you picked Ludwig. So going in, I'm the underdog. Now, you might expect as an underdog that I would put my head down and start working right away. He announced this on the 28th, and the tournament was meant to be January 12th. So I had 2 weeks. It didn't really go like that. What actually ended up happening, Wolf DM'd me. He DM'd me January 8th, 4 days before the tournament. And he said, yo, we got to get you a team for this tournament. I replied Thursday, January 9th. And I said, yes, please. And he said, today and tomorrow, let's move. And I said, yes. And then we stopped talking, and I didn't ask my coach for a team for another 2 days. I was being very, very difficult the day before the tournament. That was the first time I had ever seen my team, talked to my coach about my team, or even decided to focus on the tournament. Was the day before. So I'm an underdog going in, and I literally do not have my team until the day before. I am about the worst student you could have. Meanwhile, I'm like watching TikToks, playing Polybridge. There's this guy who's like, yo, do you have your team of 6? I need it for graphics. And my coach is like, I have one in mind. The day before the tournament, because I didn't even get one. So this was the team that he linked me. Excuse the lack of images. Butterfree, Dusclops were the main 2. And he told me, basically, you just set up Trick Room with these 2. And then after you set it up, you switch in Torkoal and Rhyperior, and then you fuck up their team. The day before the tournament, that was the information I got. And then we start to play on Showdown together. We won like 9 or 10 of 12 matches, barely losing any at all. And so then I start to play on my own. And I have what is maybe the best game I've ever had. I start Butterfree Charizard because I thought I needed somebody to sweep early. And then he does some crazy shit to me, immediately kills my Charizard. I try to sleep powder like a dumbass, even though the guy has sleep veil. I didn't know that was a thing. Switching my Dusclops. I'm freaking out. Day of the tournament, I have no idea what's going on. Uh-oh, Rage Powder dodges Max Quake, bank a Trick Room, and another Rage Powder. Rhyperior comes in. Butterfree dies, but that's okay, because the damage has been done. His Dynamax ended. Mine's just about to start. And wait. Do I Dynamax? Do I Dynamax here? Maybe it's a good idea to, uh-oh, no, I Earthquake. Because I know that I want to hit both characters and that I can kill both without having to waste a Dynamax turn. Now I bring it out. All rooms of Trick Room left. Ooh. Hey, buddy. Nice Protect. I'm a big boy, though. Doesn't really matter. I had Will-O-Wisp back on Dusclops, make that Mudsdale a useless son of a gun. Kill the Torkoal, and just for good measure, I'm a Memento. This Mudsdale is useless. 6 to 11% for high horsepower. I'm weak to it. And then he forfeits. He forfeits the fucking game. I post that in the group chat. Wolf says, you played better than I would have. And I knew right then I had a chance at winning this tournament. That's the day of the tournament, my first few hours with the team. And so then the tournament begins. And then I go into my first battle against my hardest opponent, Hugs. And if you don't know, me and Hugs have a history. Me and Hugs have a little bit of a history. We played Pokemon against each other over a year ago. And I used to talk a lot of smack, and he ended up winning one for a lot of money. So we had some beef going into it. But this is not the same Hugs that I played a year and a half ago. This is virgin level Hugs who grinded to top 100 on the ladder. Just to paint how much of a virgin this guy became, I was at Mango's birthday party, and Hugs was there. But he wasn't drinking. He was playing Pokemon Showdown on his phone in the corner for 5 hours before he left. Not against anyone, but randoms online. For 5 hours at Mango's birthday party. I do not know how to express how much work this guy put in. And he was my first matchup. So let's take a look at how it went. So right off the bat, I saw his team. And he has a different team than I expected him to have. Let me see what my coach told me. Because I cannot give enough credit to Jive Time, who truly was all the information. And let me be clear, this is how it worked. My coach would DM me some basic game strategies that I should implement against the player. But he was not allowed to talk to me during the set. He was not allowed to. So game 3, if the game plan for game 1 and 2 didn't work, I couldn't talk to him. I had to come up with it on my own. So going into it, he messaged me and he said, if he has Kofagregious, lead Dusclops Charizard, and we had this whole plan, this entire plan set up for a Kofagregious. And then I look, and there's not a Kofagregious in sight. And so the whole thing we talked about didn't matter. And he couldn't message me during the battle. So I was going in blind. Basically, my whole team's goal is to set up a Trick Room. And there are a few Pokemon who can prevent that, such as Kofagregious with Imprison. But he didn't have that. So I was like, oh, we're money. This is easy, baby. I'm just going to go with my core 4. Butterfree to set up maybe a Sleep Powder or a Rage Powder. Dusclops to bink the Trick Room. And then in the back, I have my Rhyperior and my Torkoal to clean shit up. That's the plan. That's what I'm going to do. My core 4 will lead me to victory. So we jump in. And he starts Mandibuzz and Sylveon. All I know about Mandibuzz at this point is that I think it's ended like 4 of my Ludlocks because this motherfucker does not like to die. But I was like, I could just bink a little Trick Room action, and then I was like, I'll just make it go to sleep, and then I'll be done. I didn't know what Mandibuzz did, but it made me a little nervous, so I was like, maybe I should make the Mandibuzz go to sleep because it's ruined like 4 of my Ludlocks. The good news is I did have a good read. I was faster than both. Sylveon used Calm Mind. Sylveon was the damage dealer, what I had to be nervous about. But he used Taunt on Butterfree, allowing me to set up a Trick Room. And this was Hug's fatal mistake in Game 1. This is where the tides turned. Hugs becomes a little bit of a greedy bitch. He decides to Calm Mind again. So he went full dog shit stupid. And at this point, I felt confident. I'm big chilling. It's curtains. I switch in my Torkoal. I'm like, my Torkoal can't die to the bird. Mandibuzz can't do anything. I'm just going to kill the Sylveon. Be done with it. So he decides to Dynamax the Sylveon, which is as dog shit as his first 2 decisions to double Calm Mind and taunt the wrong Pokemon. But he lives. So for a brief moment, I'm like, uh-oh. But then I remember I increased my special defense when I used Max Quake. And Max Starfall... That's me live. It's a mosquito bite. It's literally a mosquito bite. It did nothing. Eruption doesn't take out the Sylveon, which I was nervous about, but Nightshade seals the deal. But I figured this was a sealed game because he has a Life Orb and he's burned. Even if he keeps Phantom Forcing, even if the Trick Room goes down, it's going to end. And we seal up Game 1 versus Hugs.
it definitely is going to change some things. But you could see Ludwig celebrating that very first victory here from this game 1 of the series. And I kind of think that Ludwig's going to go for a pretty similar approach to the next game.
And I'm flexing. The plan is simple. Hey, I'm dropping shit talk mid-set. Because I'm the underdog. Everybody's making fun of me, and Hugs is by far the favorite to win because he's top 100 on the ladder. Enter Game 2. Game 2, I decide to start the same way. He decides to start with Arcanine and Mandibuzz. Now, I figure I can bink the same thing. I decide to sleep the Mandibuzz because last time I remember that the Mandibuzz had Taunt, and he could have taunted my Dusclops, thus ruining my chance to set up Trick Room. Right here, I'm so confident. I'm like, this fool. This fool brought nothing for Trick Room. The error in his ways shall be my victory, my path of success. I'm almost frustrated at how long he has to think. I'm laughing. Like, this guy's got nothing. This guy truly has no plan, but my plan was simple. And then I found out he's a big fucking idiot, and he only sent 2 Pokemon into battle.
This is tough once again for Hugs, though. I think, like, he doesn't have a great way to deny Trick Room, and so he has to play around it, but playing around it is tough when you have such offense. What? Okay.
Oh, we're actually going to change things up a little bit here because Hugs only brought 2 Mons to this battle. Whoops.
Everyone being a little bit confused, I think.
How do you fuck that up? He only sent 2 Pokemon into battle? What do you mean? Are you serious? So I decided to make fun of him. I got a pair of pants, and I put my pants on my head because his play was so pants on head. Anyway. Now, a lot of people in chat clamored for a forfeit. I think that's lame. Maybe in competitive, you should do it, but in an invitational, it's not about who wins. It's about putting on a show for the people watching. That's the point of an invitational versus an anyone can enter tournament. And if he were to DQ, that'd be so lame. And everyone who suggested that, I would never. So I decided to make the same exact play. Trick Room, Sleep Powder the Mandibuzz, and I'm feeling myself. Because I made the right play. Protecting the Arcanine made me feel even smarter, because maybe he thought I was going to sleep that guy. And then I realized, Sleep Powder doesn't affect Mandibuzz. What's an overcoat? What is that? I didn't know what that. I never heard of that. And he taunted me? Oh my god. So I'm not getting very lucky. I decided to Sleep Powder the Arcanine. I thought that was a smart play. I figured he was going to double target me anyway. I don't think the burn super mattered. It was a little annoying, but it is what it is. It didn't really affect anything. I do get the sleep on the Arcanine, which is good because Arcanine reduces attack by burning Pokemon and setting up Intimidate when you switch him in and out. So having him be asleep is pretty good for me. Now I switch back in Dusclops. This play didn't make sense. On hindsight, I think I should have Dynamax Rock Move Mandibuzz, which probably would have killed, and then switched out the Dusclops. Because it took me a while to realize this. Sometimes in Pokemon, the best play isn't to kill a Pokemon, but to keep them alive. Killing the Arcanine made it so that he got a free switch in with a Pokemon that could move. If I kept the Arcanine alive, he would have been a dead fish on the field. So this was very three-headed me. This was dumb. And it ended up making me suffer a lot. I killed a Mandibuzz, but not without losing precious time. And then when he reveals himself to have had a Rotom Wash in the back, it was game. I can't kill Rotom Wash without Trick Room set up early in a Rhyperior who's strong enough. I'm shit out of luck. This game 2 is as good as curtains. And we're on to game 3. And so now I have a decision. Because I know game 3 is going to start the same way as game 2. I know he's going to have Mandibuzz as the blocker for Trick Room. So my win condition is killing the Mandibuzz. If I do that, I win. And so I decided to pull off a bit of a gambit. And this gambit was meant for the Kofagregious. You might remember that my man, Jive Time, my coach, thought that Hugs would have a Kofagregious. He told me to put in a Charizard and then bait it by switching in a Torkoal to have the sun up, Dynamax Max Flare the Mandibuzz to get a kill. 6-head play. Mandibuzz is down, then I get an easy Trick Room, and I should have a free win condition. That was the first Ludwig Gambit. So in my mind, I'm still on Cloud 9, baby. I'm still on Cloud 9, baby. All right, a little nervous. But I have Trick Room set up. I can Weakness Policy my Rhyperior even if I can't Dynamax. Rockfall takes out a lot of his team. I know it killed the Arcanine with the Weakness Policy at nearly full health. His Dragapult's going to be low. With the Life Orb, it's not going to last that much longer. My Charizard might be dead, but I used all 3 turns of Dynamax to the best of its ability, nearly taking out 2 Pokemon. And then he targets my Dusclops. And then I get Will-O-Wisped. And now it's Bad News Bears. Where I thought I was pretty set up for Game 3, the Dusclops dying made this nearly impossible. Look how little damage that did. High horsepower doesn't even do half. And this is also where I was a little upset because Jive Time, my coach, decided to switch Earthquake, what we originally had, to high horsepower. Because it would be better to single target so I don't hit my own teammates killing my Torkoal or my Dusclops. Also, more targeting one Pokemon to do more damage. But an Earthquake there would have killed. I think a smarter play, even there, I should have probably Rock Slid because it would have done a lot too. I shouldn't have high horsepowered. That was probably my mistake, but I was mostly just molding that I didn't have Earthquake. The moment I can't Trick Room, my whole team gets swept by Rotom Wash. I get swept. And that was completely evident here. Hydro Pump takes me down on both Pokemon. And it was curtains. It was curtains. There's no need to talk about it. The moment I lost the Dusclops, I lost the set. And I was a little heartbroken. I felt really bad about myself. Because I really felt like I'd made a good play Game 3. And that I was going to win off of it. Because I got my win condition by killing the Mandibuzz. I felt good winning Game 1. I was cocky. The plan is simple. Everybody was doubting me. And I lost. And I had to beat Plup and Toph to make it out, dude. It sucks to start out 0-1. And now starts the climb. And let me tell you, I had a chip on my shoulder. Because Toph tweeted out on Twitter a little bit of smack. A little bit of dirt on your boy. Before the tournament started, he tweeted out how he was going to beat me because he always beat me in games of the mind. And so let's see. Let's see what happens. Coach said to look for a Hitmon top Tyranitar, so a Hitmon top Tyranitar is what I looked for. And Coach, that man's never wrong. So I didn't have to think here. No credit to me. I don't have to think. I'm seeing this. I'm like, easy money. I love having Jive Time on my side. I click Trick Room, I switch out, and I do my business. And you guys might notice something else. I decided to switch my hat from my Suffer hat that I used Game 1 to my Mickey Mouse hat. Why? Look no further than Solidarity. I bought that hat, 2 of them, for me and for Toph, and I gave it to him on his birthday. So that's a love. That's a love sign for me and Toph, because at the end of the day, love my boy Toph, just showing a little bit of respect, a little bit of love. We might be warriors on the field, but we are still friends on the furniture, specifically couches and other places where we hang out. I will say, this team works for pretty much everyone, but Jive Time specifically put in the Memento, which kills you. It makes your Pokemon self-destruct, but reduces their special attack and attack by 2 full points. That was the Ludwig Gambit he threw in. So now I'm feeling money. Now I'm feeling money. This Gyarados can't do a lick. He's -2 attack. He's got nothing on me. Excadrill's basically dead. I'm going to move before it. It's just a matter of clicking Eruption or not clicking Eruption. I got Max Rockfall on the Gyarados if I want to use it. And Toph's toast. I don't need to waste your time. He decided to Dynamax, but, you know, too little, too late. And then I beat Toph Game 2 cleanly. But the only reason I beat Toph, and I don't know if you guys know this, is because I decided by my coach's smart thinking to switch the Butterfree and dodge the fake out. There's another way it could have gone, but my coach prepared for that. My coach thought about everything. And so he said, and this is all, bear in mind, before the set started, because he's not allowed to talk to me in game 2. He's not allowed to talk in between games, only in between sets. He said, if that works game 1, game 2, you bring out the same 4. Dusclops, Butterfree, Rhyperior, Torkoal in the back. But you go for a Sleep Powder and then Trick Room. Thinking that Toph will try to predict my fake out play, instead binking the sleep off. So that's the idea going into game 2. Let's see how it works. We have our 4 Pokemon. Everybody knows it, but it's all about how you start. Like playing Fox Dittos with your friend for 2 hours, you know each other's neutral starts like the back of your hands. It's all mind games. Like the good listener I am, I decide to Sleep Powder the Tyranitar, knowing that Hitmontop actually wasn't as big of a threat as I thought he was. Pretty much had like fake out Bullet Punch. I don't know what else, but I didn't think it could stop Trick Room. But I know Tyranitar with Assault Vest can be a little bit harder to kill. Let's make that boy go nappy, and let's see if Jive times Gambit pays off. It could not have paid off more. His whole thing is helping hand Tyranitar to do most damage. But you can't really do it when you're sleeping! His entire gambit of making my Dusclops die with a helping hand Max Darkness Dynamax move failed the moment Jive Time came into play. In this game, literally off of that one read from my coach is curtains. It's done. And throughout all this, Toph's doing something. He's taking a long time to make his moves. What I thought would be like pretty easy moves to make. So I'm like, that's weird, but whatever. I don't think much of it. And then I notice a timer on the screen. 44, 43, 42. And I'm like, why is this counting down? Because I had only ever played on Showdown, where you have your individual timer. I didn't realize that there was a timer for both parties that Toph was controlling the entire time. I thought it was going to be a tie game. I thought maybe even I'd win because it let me do one final turn. Literally, this turn I would have won. The fire would have killed him on top. He didn't have Protect. I would have killed Excadrill. I would have won this turn. But because of Toph's stalling, and my decision to use Memento, and my lack of understanding of the rules, I lost. Apparently in VGC rules, in the case of a timeout, it goes to most Pokemon. And if you have the same amount, it goes to most HP. Even though I made my decisions as quick as possible, Toph timed me out and won the game. Now, my coach only gave me a game plan for game 1 and game 2. This is one of my favorite parts about Jive Time. He never told me what to do game 3 because he assumed I would have won, which I respected. It didn't always work out that way, but sometimes it did. This was one of those times. So I know this game virtually comes down to a coin flip. I think he thinks his game 2 play was a fluke. I think he knows that he did not win from skill, but from a lucky timeout. And he's going to revert to the plan that he set up game 1. So I decide, in the moment, I'm going to switch out, hope he tries to fake me out, set up Trick Room, and sweep his team. And here it starts. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, a little fake out. Dark Pulse, Trick Room, looking like a repeat of game 1, no? Wrong. It's better. Sometimes in life, the question's not which move do I use with Dynamax. It's should I Dynamax. You sweet summer child. Take a second. Take a minute. Take an hour. Because now I know I've locked it in. There are no mementos. There are no chokes. There's only W's. Gyarados, say hello to Weakness Policy Rock Fall. Out of curiosity, let's see how much damage it does. Oh, it kills! The only threat to my team, to my Torkoal, dead to rice. Toph's taking his sweet time, and I'm dancing. I'm dancing on him because I know that the decisions I made at the start will let me bear fruits for all of his team for the rest of the game to win the set. He decided to Dynamax his Excadrill. He decided. It's too late! It's too little! Too late! The 4-stock's coming! The crowd's alive! And Ludwig takes his first set! In a deafening 4-0 performance. Man, I fucking love my coach. Dude, beautiful game 3. Top to bottom. Really impressive stuff. I didn't prep as hard for Plup because unfortunately our games were back-to-back because they did winners first. So we had almost no downtime. He sent me one paragraph. He said Gastrodon beats his entire team out of Rotom C. And I was like, all right, cool. He said start Butterfree Dusclops, Gastrodon, Torkoal in the back. Now, I had only been playing Rhyperior Torkoal in the back, so this was kind of new to me, at least in the tournament that we were playing today. So I just went along with it because my coach has yet to lead me astray. I figured, all right, let's give this a shot. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to set up exactly what he said. He said if he leads the bird, you can either switch into Gastrodon or Pollen Puff. You know, boys, I don't have the best reading comprehension. And I kind of forgot to listen to what he said. And I didn't do that. Instead, I was like, oh, I'll just make Bird go sleep. What I did is I freaked out. Now I remember. I panicked. He told me to switch out into Gastrodon. Smart play. That way I can absorb the water, power up my Gastrodon, then sweep with Max Hailstorm, things like that. I decided to use Sleep on the Sableye because I thought Sableye had like some weird freaky move that would stop me from Trick Rooming, and I got really nervous. And then I was like, okay, now I will switch into Torkoal and Gastrodon. Now, full disclosure, I thought Gastrodon's ability Storm Drain absorbed all the water from the field, making it go to a different Pokemon. So if you used a water-type move on Torkoal, it would only hit Gastrodon. It turns out it doesn't really work that way. You know, apparently that only works for single-target moves. Surf happens to hit both people, so the Storm does not get drained that easily. And me deciding to bring out my Torkoal was perhaps the most pants-on-head thing I've ever done in my life. And my Torkoal, right here, I'm like, oh, yeah, hell yeah. This was genius, man. Storm Drain. Fuck yeah. Didn't even hit me. And I buffed my special attack. Dope. Dope. This is dope. And then I can use my Solar Beam to... Why? What? You can... Look at my face. Look at my face. Why did that hit me? Do I win this game? There's no way. There's no way I win this game, right? I forgot I won this game. I won this game with an accidental non-Dynamax, which actually ended up working out, a crit and a switch into a water move, knowing there would be a water move. But I made it a lot harder than it had to be. Ooh, I made it so much harder than it had to be. I won game 1 with like 7 misplays. Game 2 should be free if I'm just not a total idiot. So it starts out the same way. And since I won game 1 so cleanly, I figured there wasn't too much of a threat from the Sableye. The bird was actually the Pokemon to worry about with his Surf. I should just put him to sleep, set up my Trick Room, then I can cleanly get out my Torkoal because the Sableye to me felt useless. I'm like, all right, let's double target Gastrodon. This has to kill. I max Quake. and I am so tilted. Look at my face. Look at my face. That did nothing! I'm so mad because I have no way to kill this Gastrodon. I lost game 2 because of my inability to kill the Gastrodon. And now we're on to game 3. My Butterfree and my Dusclops jobs are basically people with shovels. They are shovelers, and they are meant to plow the way for my Torkoal to rain down. Because my Torkoal hates snow. Now, he wakes up and he uses Stockpile. At the time, I thought it was dog shit. He also switches in Rhyperior, which also didn't make sense to me. It turns out Plup was not so dumb, because he decided to Dynamax, and it also turns out, for some reason, he's faster than me. And I thought I lost. I genuinely believed that this was the end. Enter Torkoal. Because I know the only way I'm going to win is by having my Torkoal use Solar Beam. So what is the best move for Dusclops to make sure my Torkoal lives? I figured with Drought, a Water-type move from Gastrodon wouldn't do as much as a Ground-type move from Rhyperior, so I decided to target the Gastrodon with Max Overgrowth, hoping to kill it, and I just gotta say, fuck whatever that berry is. What is that berry? It did half! Oh my god! Orendo? What is that trash? And I tried to Memento to lower the attack of the Rhyperior, ensuring that it couldn't kill my loved and necessary Torkoal. A little Ludwig Gambit. And my Memento Ludwig Gambit paid off! I halved his HP by -2ing with the Memento. And he literally did a little over half. Ludwig Gambit is the reason why I didn't die. Enter the luckiest moment of the tournament so far. He's got a Sableye, and he's got a Rhyperior. I have one Torkoal. This looked unwinnable. In fact, everybody thought I was going to lose at this point. There's no way he wins. Rhyperior just uses an Earth move. Sableye hits me with some shit, and I'm dead. But Plup made one mistake. He did not correctly count the amount of turns left in the Trick Room and thought he was faster, failing to protect. Trick Room had one last turn left in its body. Heat Wave, 90 damage, only one target. Doesn't matter that the Trick Room is still up, because I win. A literal unwinnable situation. Clutched out game 3 to make it out of pools. And we get it done. This is actually an insane fact. 8 people entered. 4 people made the finals, got out of pools. And I was the only one to have played more than 5 games. Every game, game 3. Every game, a nail biter. Every time, a sweat. I was exhausted. I had been playing for 4 hours. And all that separated me from winning the entire tournament were 2 best of 3s. 2 more matches, and I won. Let's see how it went. So let me tell you what my coach told me. Going into it, Jive Time gave me some advice. Our biggest concern was ESAM's Snorlax. There are a few ways to counter Trick Room, and one of the best ways to do it is to just live. And a Gigantamax Snorlax definitely knows how to live. So our plan was to fuck him up before he can Gigantamax, Belly Drum, Citrus Berry, gain his HP back, Thick Fat his way to glory. And ESAM did some crazy shit. He Dynamaxed his Pikachu off rip, which I thought was kind of weird. Bad news is both of us got paralyzed And ESAM's entire game plan was para-flinching, which I believe has a 45% chance at preventing you from moving. But if it's a gamble he wants, it's a gamble he gets. And I've always said I might not be the best Pokemon player. In fact, I'm not very good at all. But I sure as hell am the luckiest. So now, Trick Room set up. No way for him to stop it. Time to go to work. And then I'm like, all right, I'll just Dynamax and fuck up his team. And boys, I don't need to go into too much detail. I fuck up his team. This entire fight is just a combo video. Even though it was the semifinals, it was the easiest fight I had had so far. He just really had no answer for a weakness policy Dynamaxed Rhyperior. And he tried to bring in Snorlax, but it was too little, too late. And ESAM led me on the path to the finals. Years of people calling me bad at Pokemon. 22 runs to be Black and White 2. Failure after failure in Pokemon led to one moment. My match versus Zane, the finals, which would be my hardest match yet. I didn't have a lot of time to prepare with my coach, but he told me, use the original 4. He said, Duraludon and Whimsicott ignore Rage Powder, but you can put Duraludon to sleep. And the only concern was if he was able to kill me before I set up Trick Room, because his team is extremely weak to it. Now, we thought that he would start with Dumpy Zolt and Duraludon. So I decided, okay, I'm going to use Trick Room and I'm going to use Rage Powder. I'll divert the attack. I didn't really expect the Darmanitan to be there, but whatever. We'll use Icicle Crash until he used Earthquake. And all of a sudden, Game 1 starts very poorly. My win condition is dead. And there's something else. This entire set, I misread my coach's advice. And I thought that I couldn't put Duraludon to sleep because he said it would ignore Rage Powder. Even though his exact quote is, note, you can put Duraludon to sleep. I read it wrong! The entire time the casters are ripping me apart!
Sleep Powder is the Passimian, which at first glance might seem good, but actually...
Yeah, if he put that Duraludon to sleep, I think he'd actually be in a really good position, but now he's still got to worry about the Steel Spike coming out.
Now, what would have been smart is max guarding and then making him go to sleep. But I didn't know! Because I read it wrong! Game 1 goes to Zane, but it's not over yet, because I have one last gambit. My coach gave me a gambit to use against ESAM, and I didn't end up using it. I want you to lead with Torkoal and Charizard, and have Dusclops and Rhyperior in the back. Charizard is faster than his entire team. Note, this was not for the same team at all. Turn 1, switch Torkoal into Dusclops, Heat Wave with Charizard, no Dynamax, Dynamax Rhyperior. And even though Jive Time created this plan for a completely different team, I said, all right, it can't go worse than Game 1 did. So my plan was simple. I start off the same way, letting him think he can do the same thing. But instead, I switch into Charizard. Then, Charizard should be able to live a Max Darkness move, and I can inflict some damage in turn 2. I didn't know if it was genius or if it was foolish. With the restrictions I had in place, not knowing I can put this motherfucker to sleep, it was the best I could come up without Jive's help. And it was based off his plan in the first place. Well, turns out I got the first part right. Earthquake did nothing. But Duraludon, with his weakness policy, is one strong son of a bitch. And Max Darkness one-shot my Charizard.
Oh, it gets the one-hit knockout. What? That's insanely powerful.
So, we trade one Pokemon for one sleep. So maybe, just maybe, I can get off a Trick Room and win this fucking game. Trick Room, switch to Rhyperior. Pray I don't die to Max Darkness. And now it's time to do what I do best. I thought long and hard here. Is it better to set up the weakness policy and use Rock Ball, killing both Pokemon? Or is it better to Dynamax, ensure that I get the kill, and pray that that motherfucker stays asleep. I played around with this a lot, so I trusted my gut. Dynamax, get the HP, just in case Rockfall doesn't kill either, and make sure that Duraludon is fucking dead. Now, it wasn't the luckiest thing ever. I got half of my wish. I kill him with Max Quake, getting rid of his weakness policy Duraludon. But the Darmanitan was tired of nap time. It might be end of Dynamax, but he has half defense because he used close combat. I have double attack because my weakness policy. I have Rage Powder so he can't touch me even though Trick Room's over. It's as good as GG. High horsepower and I win. That's all I gotta do. And it fucking missed! I didn't think it could miss! I mean, thank God I'm a bug flying type and close combat doesn't do shit. But how does that miss? Oh my God, I was sweating. In my head, I'm thinking, fuck you, Jive Time, give me Earthquake. Even though high horsepower was the smarter move. But in that one moment, it made me sweat more than I wanted to sweat. I'm just praying that I don't die. And 95 out of 100, you know, you're going to win at least 1 and 2. And now it's on to game 3. And I pulled game 2 out of my ass. I still can't talk to my coach. I have no fucking clue what to do. Starts off very similarly to game 2. But my plan is virtually the same. Except I wanted to kill the Duraludon early. So I thought, okay, here I'm going to Heat Wave and I'm going to switch into Torkoal to allow me to set up a Sun and kill both Pokemon. I knew he was going to do the same game plan. Dynamax away. It all came down to if I would live and if I would hit. He max guards, which threw me off, but he read me with the Rock Slide.
That's going to be a Rock Slide. Does it connect?
And the Rock Slide killed. So where game 2, I traded my Charizard to put his Darmanitan to sleep. Game 3, I got no such luck. I sacrificed bringing my Butterfree, which won me game 2, to have a Torkoal, just so this Charizard could do this one thing. But Zane was prepared every step of the way, and I was fucked. I can't set up Trick Room because he's gonna fuck me up, but I have one thing on my side, Dynamax. And Zane decides to switch out, which I think was a big mistake. Because he couldn't Earthquake, he didn't set up weakness policy, and because I max guarded, I dodged everything he tried to do. His Rock Fall, which was so good turn 1, killing Charizard, made the rest of his game plan so much worse. Yeah, he got rid of my weakness policy, but it was too little, too late. Duraludon was dead, his monkey was on its way out, and I still had my Dusclops, who now had no chance of getting one-hit KO'd. And I felt maybe, just maybe I can win this whole thing. And now we have an interesting spot. Both Pokemon get fucked up by my Torkoal. So I try to kill the Pokemon I think is most threatening to my Rhyperior, because I think they'll double target Torkoal. But it didn't matter, because I have luck on my side. Actually, let me let the commentators take this over.
Whimsicott was the last one. It's Ice Cold Crash!
And this is! He went for it. I mean, it didn't matter as long as Heat Wave connected, but...
Yeah.
No. With their Darmanitan gone, there's no way for Zane to beat Torkoal anymore, or let alone Dusclops.
He is the greatest Pokemon player of all time.
True!
I have this belief. If he gets the burn here, he deserves 100 gifted subs. Oh!
And 100 gifted subs I deserve!
How?
Yeah, honestly, the
3 turns. 3 turns with no Trick Room. And I turned around my loss of a Charizard
3 and 4
into the greatest win of my Pokemon career. This is not the end of me playing Pokemon. It's just the beginning. Wolf wants me to go to the Dallas Regionals. I don't know if I'll go. It's a little soon. But I think there's something to be earned by investing a little bit of time into some Pokemon VGC content. It was a hell of a lot of fun. It got my heart racing as much as a 4-stock comeback in Super Smash Bros. Melee. So there might be a little future on the channel for it. Turns out that PvP might be better than PvE.